above the 49th parallel. Okay. We conclude today the 35th chapter. Chapter 35 is about creating a divine light in our lives, that we fuel that divine light through mitzvah, good deeds. As we've explained previously, our soul can't do it. Our soul can't create the divine light of God, even though we got a soul that's a part of God. Seemingly it should, but no, as we've explained, it is vested within the body and therefore has a creative, a divine creative, but creative quality to it, that of a separateness. The mitzvah, though, the command of God, is the inner will of God. What he really wants, and that through that we connect to him. And therefore, the mitzvah has no identity of its own, has no reality but being the will of God. Right? The putting on tefillin, the lighting Shabbos candles, study of Torah that we're doing right now. And therefore, when we engage in it, we are united in one with God, and we create the divine light of God. And as we explained, that can only be done through a body. The physical act of a mitzvah can only be done through the conduit of the body, which is metaphorically the wick of the light, of the candelabra that has the light, or the oil rather, that's holding the oil. So it's the physical body that is incorporated in doing the act of the mitzvah, and therefore connecting us, not merely connecting us with God, but creating a light of God. Now, the Alter Rebbe explains. So we're talking about the body and the animal soul that's engaged in the mitzvah. But in what manner? How does that actually work? How do we understand the engagement of the body and the animal soul that's engaged in the mitzvah? Again, understand it. How do we understand the concept of it rather than just the fact of it? The fact of it, yeah, of course. I need I need my hand to extend and help another, to give charity, to put on tefillin, right? So the Alter Rebbe explains, but that doesn't explain how to absorb it in the light of God. We're talking about an animal soul and a body that has its own agenda, and that agenda doesn't change. In other words, even though when I'm doing the mitzvah, I'm studying right now, my animal soul, my body, has its own agenda that has not changed. By the righteous, it's changed. The body and the animal soul are completely transformed. But the complete righteous individual, completely transformed. And therefore, now we can understand how they're absorbed in the light of God. But me and you are not completely transformed in doing our mitzvah. As a matter of fact, the self-absorbed nature of my animal soul and body, its own agenda, remains. Its evil nature being that it senses its own reality, senses its own its own mitzias, its own being, its own independence of God, right? So if that's the case, then how does it get absorbed in the light of God? So the Alter Rebbe explains. It's true, but at that moment, when you're doing the mitzvah, like right now, your animal soul, your body, is kind of subjugated to holiness at that moment. And it's agreeing. It's like saying, Amen, so be it, to do the mitzvah. How is it able to do that? How are you able to? In other words, you didn't transform it. You just got it to agree in the moment. This moment, you're studying Torah, folks. You got your animal soul to agree to do it. You didn't change it. It's not that that's what the animal soul wants. Because the moment we're going to finish learning, you know what? Probably our animal soul is going to have an opinion that we may listen to. Right? So, but in this moment, it's agreeing. How's it agreeing? Is because we have the mind is able to influence the heart and not allow the heart, where the animal soul resides, to have its way. And then I say, okay, I'm going to do the mitzvah. So to speak, the negativity that's within us of the animal soul is kind of dormant. It's asleep. But just like when we're asleep, we're only asleep. When we wake up, whoever we are comes back to us, so to speak. So the animal soul will come back. But in the moment of doing it, it's sort of asleep. And therefore it doesn't prevent the Shekhinah, the divine presence, from embracing the individual. Embracing in a perfect unity. In what manner? In different manners. The animal soul and the physical body is engaged in the mitzvah in that moment. The light of God is over the person, encompassing from above, but not permeating from within. The godly soul, the light of God is permeated even from within. Even from within. So meaning that the light of God, the divine presence, Shekhinah as we call it, right? As we call it, is expressed in different ways. To the godly soul, it's absorbed, and therefore it becomes united with God in an internalized way. The animal soul that has not changed, the body that has not changed, right? So the light of God isn't absorbed from within, but it surrounds and encompasses from without in a manner of figure of speech. Meaning that the divine presence of God is found in different ways. Does that mean there's different gods? Because there's different lights of God that